like you said, you've spent the past 10 years working in this space in such a concentrated manner. And that brings me to ask you something that Simon Sinek is known for saying, which is the why of things, right? Like why learning and development? Why is it important? Why do you focus on the things you do? And what is the future of learning and development and focusing on it?
So, well, I derive why of things before Simon Sinek. I think, it's John Doerr for me where I derive it from, because, like the ideology on which I develop talent is more on the lines of measure what matters. So, the why is still essential. Why has become that key question actually today. So if you look at it, like almost the change is already here. It's already happened. So almost 70 to 80% of the organizations are very clearly purpose driven. They have, one or the great, one of the great purposes which is required for keeping the business positive, the people positive, and then eventually also the outcome positive, the value that the business generates. That has happened already. So if you look at, like very recently, I was doing one of these shows in Dubai. So where in the initial we asked organizations to write, this was a CEO event, so we did ask CEOs to write their vision in a slip, right, and paste it on the event door, which was a board that we kept there. So almost there were 350 plus slips that we got. Almost every slip had a great vision of how it will evolve the community into something which the future is going to be. So if you look at these businesses, right, every business has a certain sense of purpose. It could be a very simple purpose of delivering a pizza to a pizza lover, to a very complex purpose like colonizing the Mars or sending sending the rocket to the moon, right? So these purposes, while these organizations have these purposes, the people who are joining these organizations, they also join the organization with a certain purpose. Those purposes are largely not that aspirational or that giving to the community. It is more centered around themselves, right, or where they are. And again, it is also based upon the Maslow's hierarchy need, where it basically starts with physiological needs and then eventually moves up towards self-actualization and transcendence. So if you look at the aspiration of an organization, of what it is there for, what it was, founder, why actually it was created, and then employees' aspiration of making money or learning or growth, there is a misalignment over here. So this learning and development programs inside the organizations are becoming critical to actually fill in this gap. So this aspirational gap which is there, it actually can, like the awareness, the learning, and contextual learning which is related to that business is something which actually fills this gap, and then actually takes away that inefficiency which comes in because of lack of clarity. So where it can take us to the future, it's hard to say. Future is hard to predict actually. But let's talk about what has happened, because that kind of will give us an indicator of what future will look like. So today, whatever we see in terms of the people that we work with, the people that we hire, the people that we aspire to work with, all of those people are driven. Their needs of learning have evolved. The learnings in the organization, until I very candidly remember, until 2010 also, most of them were mostly pushed over the people. Where organization used to decide that what is the set of trainings and programs that you should go through, and that was a time when we were actually going through basic level trainings itself. People, it was actually hard for us to actually make people use fundamental tools like Excel until 2005 and 2010. So while initially the training programs were more imposed to give people a certain context about what is supposed to be done, now it has become more individual centered. It's more democratic in nature, where an individual consumer, every single consumer understands that what are they learning, and is constantly reasoning with that why of learning it. What is the need of learning anything that I learn? Because whatever does not work for me immediately becomes a pollution for me, and it is something which tampers with the exact flow that I want for things. So keeping that, democratizing that is something which is currently the era. So I'm assuming that if that is happening right now, this democratizing of learning and development is happening right now, the future should look very democratic in nature. And if it evolves more, if it gets better in it, I think we should be able to change the fundamentals of education industry as well across the globe actually.
So again, like very powerful, right? You spoke about how there is a misalignment, but also the fact that we've evolved to a place of democratization, where people should be able to pick what they want to learn and what their growth trajectory looks like.